Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. Yes, that is a new intro clip to introduce this video. We think it looks all right. So yeah, my name is Joel Skett. I am Hearts Standard editor. I am joined by my colleague Craig Cairns, and we are here to look ahead to Heart of Midlothian's Scottish Premiership fixture against St Mirren on Saturday afternoon at Tynecastle Park. We will be discussing various things around it. Who can we expect to be in the lineup? What do we expect? How are we feeling, etc., etc. But before we get to that, I have got a message from our sponsors, of course, which are Good Vibes Giveaways, who are proud to sponsor Hearts Standard and offer fantastic prizes to fans of the club. Prizes change weekly and include tech, gadgets, days out, weekends away, tax-free cash, and even OASIS tickets. Get your tickets now at www.goodvibesgiveaways.com and then for your chance to spread the good vibes. Sunglasses emojis. So I just went straight into there. And Craig, how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Might be coming down with something, but I'm all right. I'll be all right, and I will definitely be there tomorrow, even if I'm feeling a wee bit rubbish, because it's a really important one, isn't it? Not just important in the sense that, as we've been saying every week, we need a win, but it's the start of a new era at Hearts. So in that sense, it's quite important to get down there and see what Critchley can do off the bat with this group of players.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. I'm going to say I'm excited for tomorrow. I can't say I've said that too often this season regarding looking ahead to the Hearts game. But I am. I'm just. It's a mixture of excitement and intrigue. Just because we've had the build up, we've had from. We'll maybe go back to last Thursday when I think his name first started doing the rounds with Per Matthias Hogmo, and the way it transpired over the weekend. Got the announcement on Tuesday, his unveiling on Tuesday afternoon, and then just everything that came after it, and had the press conference today. So it's just like you kind of just, I don't suspect he would be feeling the same. Just wants to get to tomorrow and finally experience, as he said in his pre-match press conference, experience the Tynecastle atmosphere. So before I start asking you a few questions relating to the game and what you expect, etc., what are we going with in terms of a nickname for Critchley? Because obviously Naismith had Nazy, and I think the players call him Gaffer, but is it Critch? One of my mates put in the group chat Critcho.
Because Critchy doesn't work because it's just too close to Critchley. Yeah. It's just like you're not saying that properly. So yeah, but Critcho, it's a bit Aussie, isn't it? I mean, there's enough Aussies in there, so maybe that will have already been tried or caught on. Who knows?
Because Neil, with like all due respect to all the Neils out there, and especially Neil Critchley, Neil's one of the more boring names.
Nearly. If in doubt, you just stick a Y on the end of it, and for nicknames here, don't you? So
yeah, easy as that. So Craig, looking back across at the last, before we get into the details of the game, looking back at the last few days. How have you? Are you still feeling the way you felt when the announcement was made, and then we went to the unveiling, that you're just kind of still just unsure as to how it all as to how it will all pan out, or have you got caught up in a wee bit of I'm buying into this a wee bit more?
Yeah, I mean, like, just to add to what you said before, I mean, excitement, intrigue, but there's still a huge dose of apprehension there.
Yeah.
Not just because of the manager being an unknown quantity largely to us, but just the position we're in. And like I said, two different managers have tried now. Okay, one of them is a B team manager that was kind of just thrown up temporarily, but we played pretty well in both the league games under Liam Fox and still didn't win either of them.
Yeah.
So we're in this really sort of precarious position. So yeah, I would say I am quite excited in the sense of seeing how we set up and how we approach the game, and I suspect St Mirren are going to sit in against us because that's how teams have... They're not too good at the moment, and that's how teams have got success against us this season. So I'm intrigued to see if we have answers for that, if we've been able to come up with anything over the last couple of games to have answers for that. But yes, I'm still apprehensive because, and partly because of the overly negative reaction. I think was a bit over the top. I can completely understand people having their doubts and looking at his recent managerial career, or even his whole managerial career, and thinking we shouldn't be taking a punt at this stage. I totally get that. But I've kind of lost my train of thought there. I did tell you I was ill. Maybe I'll come back to me where I was going.
I'm glad you went down that strand, because that's one of the things I was going to ask you and kind of discuss, and it's how do you just... We're quite online just with the nature of our job, just because we have to like post stuff on social media, and just and it's important to take a temperature of the fans. I think it's something that can be easy for us to do as well, because we'll be in group chats with Hearts fans, our pals, and that's one way. And then you've got social media, just speaking to people. Have you seen a change in the feeling around Critchley and his appointment? Because even Andrew McKinley mentioned it on Tuesday when he was unveiling. It was like he was kind of encouraged by how fans were looking at it once the announcement had been made. Maybe a bit of overconfidence, I don't know. But have you noticed a change in the view of his appointment in the last few days, or has it just been a case of people have just begun to accept it?
There's probably a bit of both of those going on. I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say one of the reasons I'm feeling apprehensive is because if things start to go wrong in the game, then there's not going to be... It doesn't feel like there's going to be much of a honeymoon period or much leeway.
No.
So that's where some of the apprehension comes in as well. But to answer your question, I think from what I could see, and I have been, like, when I've been speaking to people and we've been talking about the reaction, I have been saying that I hope it's not... I hope it is this just sort of online, you can get away with saying, being a bit more abrasive kind of thing, and whereas it's not representative of the wider... I mean, I still think that will be there, that sentiment will be in quite a lot of the fans, online and offline. I'm just wondering whether it's maybe not quite as pronounced as Twitter would have you believe. But at the same time, I think from the initial sort of blocks of negativity that I saw in the comments from the initial 30 seconds after that tweet went up, there were like various negative comments there already. I think that's turned a little bit. I think some that maybe haven't rushed to as quick a judgment have maybe come to a bit more balanced view, and then or they've maybe seen how their fellow Hearts fans have reacted and been like, come on guys, it's maybe not that bad, or something along those lines. And then I think as other fans have joined in, I think some Hearts fans have got their back up because other fans are at it. Like Hibs, as if they've got a leg to stand on when it comes to managerial appointments in recent times.
They've got numerous issues of their own that they need to sort out.
But that's one of the criticisms, that this is just I mean, I accidentally said Michael Appleton, a wee bit of a Freudian slip the other day, and he was a guy that followed up Critchley at Blackpool, and he was one of the guys that was close to, or Hibs had him at the top of their list at one point or something like that. So yes, I'm very aware that that's one of the criticisms, that he is more of a Hibs appointment than a Hearts appointment.
Yeah. Really hope that's that won't be the case. However, let's look ahead to the game. So he did his first pre-match press conference today. I was there. Thought again, I was like, not a massive fan of the phrase, but it's you have to use it. Like he spoke really well. I thought a lot of the stuff he said was good. It kind of followed on from Tuesday when he spoke with the written press, and when he wanted to talk about the kind of the long-term philosophy and what he wants to see from his Hearts side, but he kept on coming back to Saturday's important. The short term is more important because you need to get off the bottom of the table. So how do you do that? Yes, there's things that I like one of his answers. I think he gave it to Brian McLaughlin at the BBC. Was in the broadcast was that his philosophy that he wants to put on the team. That's going to kind of on the tactics side of things. That's going to be a longer term fix. Stuff that he wants as he sees as his principles as a manager. Longer term fix, but there's stuff in the short term that Hearts fans, the Hearts team can do, and it's stuff that Hearts fans want to see from their side. So I think he's like hard work, effort, commitment, like passion. He's like that's stuff that the players can control in the short term. They can just bring that on the pitch. So I am intrigued to see what the reaction is like tomorrow from the team, whether it's a very up and at like a start because it's a new era at Tynecastle, and if you mentioned about St Mirren, yes, they're very much going to be sitting, be hard to beat, be robust, be aggressive. So it's trying to I'm hopeful that we'll try and make it as difficult as possible for them in those opening 5-10 minutes. Just don't let them settle, and then have them on the back foot from there.
Yeah, and you can't blame St Mirren for that because
absolutely not.
That's how teams have.
So how would set up against Hearts? We've both watched us so many times. Let's let Hearts have the ball.
Exactly, and the best, we've said it a few times as well, but our best performances, there haven't been many, but if you were to rank our performances, the ones that would come up the top are Aberdeen, Rangers, and teams that attack us, basically.
Yeah.
Pilsen away to an extent, Celtic away to an extent. Those are the games where we've had some success in an attacking sense, whereas other teams have sat in and just we haven't had any ideas. And that's again where I can see where fans' apprehensions have come from. Looking at his previous spell, his most recent spell at Blackpool, and the way he played there, and the way it's described as kind of slow build-up play and things like that. But that's going to be one of the intriguing things about it, is because so some people are of the opinion that he's tied to 3-5-2 and that's what he'll try to play, and other people are of the opinion that it's more difficult to nail down because he's played different things at different places. I don't know how much you can read into Liverpool, played 4-3-3 there, but they were aping what the first team were doing. Yeah. So it's not as if he's gone in and he will have put his own kind of stamp and characteristics onto that system, but they're basically playing the same things throughout the youth teams so that they're, for obvious reasons, for uniformity and all that kind of stuff. But he's played different systems at different places, including like the different he's 2 different Blackpool spells. And the first one, again, this might be PTSD for some people, but he would change from week to week between a back 3 and a back 4 sometimes, and would make 2, 3, 4 changes to his lineup every week, and we know where we saw that recently. So yeah, there's as I say, there is loads of apprehension going into this game. But you're right, are we going to see a confident Hearts that takes the game to them and creates chances right from the off, or are we going to be a nervous wreck?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the big questions tomorrow on the formation. Without knowing for sure, I am. If I was to put a bet on it, if I was a betting man, which sometimes I am, if I was to put some money on it, I would say Hearts are going to be a back 4 tomorrow. And in general, I think fans shouldn't need to worry about the back 3 or the back 5. I still think there's a time and a place for it. I think there was a time and place for it. I just think it's a good thing to be able to play, because Hearts aren't Barcelona, and you can't just go right. This is our identity, and we play this no matter what. Yes, I think you can do that for a lot of it. Like, again, I would like to see Hearts' identity be big, physical Hearts, but then sometimes you need to make just tweaks here and there. So that's why there's games where the back 3 or the back 5 would be suitable, but for the majority of I believe it will be a back 4, and then there'll just be there'll be tweaks within that, whether it's a 4-4-2, whether it's a 4-3-3, and there will be player rotation. He said that during the week. Just with the nature of the schedule, he's going to make changes. I think that's the type of manager he is. He, similar to Naismith, said basically it's a squad game, which leads me on to think I am very, very... one of the things I'm most intrigued by is how he views the squad, because I think we all know, all Hearts fans know that there are good players there. I just don't think there is... there's a great balance within certain areas, namely there's struggling wide areas, don't have a lot of depth in attack. But if you break it down individually, there's good talent there. They'll absolutely, if we get it right, fly up the table. So really curious to see how he will judge the team individually. I know this is a very difficult question, Craig, but what do you expect tomorrow? Is there a certain player or players that you expect to play or would like to see?
I think he will keep a fair bit of continuity from the work Liam Fox did, because I think we can all agree there was improvement there. There was consistency that there wasn't there before. In terms of team selection, I totally agree. I mean, we had this discussion before. The rotation, I think, is just a essential part of the game. How you execute it is the trick. You can't just run players into the ground. You have to have some element of taking them off in 60 minutes here, or playing them 2 games out of 3 in a week, or whatever it is. You just have to have that kind of thing. It's essential. But I think you can have too much of it, and I think you can overthink it sometimes as well. I think maybe that's what was happening a bit with Naismith earlier in the season as well. There was stuff that he didn't need to do. Let's put it that way. There were things that he did that he didn't need to do. I think it will definitely be a back 4. I think it will probably be a 4-3-3, and I think it will be very similar to the lineup against Aberdeen, because I think a lot of those players have kind of played themselves in. I mean, I think Dan does. I mean, despite the connection that he's got with Critchley, he's played himself into the next starting 11. I think Spittle's come onto a game in the last. I mean, arguably our most important player over the last couple of games. So whereas before we were kind of looking at, especially the new signings, and thinking, have these guys made our squad better? There's 2 that have kind of, at least for now, made themselves starters. Oyegoke was good against Aberdeen as well. Again, maybe not maybe he's not his natural position. And that is one of the reasons I think we'll play a back 4 as well, because even if Critchley was wanting to play a back 3 wing backs, I'm not sure we've got anybody that can play right wing back.
Forrester can play there.
I suppose Forrester, yeah. But still, I mean, there's lack of options there. I think, for instance, I for what it's worth, I think it would really suit Penrice. I think, because from what I heard, that's who he wanted to give he wanted those wing backs to go up and down all day and just be like real workhorses. And I think that would suit Penrice, for instance. But I think with personnel, I think we'll probably go with a back 4. As I say, I think it'll be very similar. I think Vargas will probably give the pace on the right. I think you'll have Danda tucking in from the left, and I don't know. Maybe Grant. Now Grant's suspended, isn't he? So he'll have to make a decision in midfield, obviously. For
if Grant was available, I'd, for the sake of Neil Critchley, don't play George Grant.
I was about to say, like, you should change Grant, but then I remembered as I was saying it, he's suspended. So yeah,
absolutely. I think persona non grata at the moment. So I'll put up my lineup. So. Because I've just did it I'll put up on the site later on. But what I've like you, I've gone 4-3-3, and sorry, I should have done this earlier. I should have I've loaded it and it's just processing.
You look angry with yourself there, Joe.
I'm always angry with stuff. So once there we go. So that's my 4-3-3, very similar to what we played. Yeah. Oh, I think the only change.
That's a good shout. I forgot that Boateng had come in, but that was like that was like rotation / like fitness issues, wasn't it? And Birmingham's just back from long-term injury, so that made sense after the first 2 games that he played that week that Boateng came in for that.
And it's almost harsh on Boateng because I thought he was really good against Aberdeen as well. And so
he wasn't exactly poor before Fox took charge of games as well and dropped out. It was essential that he did drop out, but I think Fox made the right decision. But he wasn't. If you were looking at all the players who haven't pulled their weight or performed well enough this season, I don't think he would be near the top of that list.
Yeah, no, but he did. What was the game before Ross County? It was St Mirren away. That was his worst performance, and he dropped out. But so that was his. I think that's been his only poor performance. But so this, I'm just looking at it's. I think it's got a nice balance, and I think Dander's a starter, Swettle's a starter, Shankland's a starter. You're actually beginning to look at the Hearts team and thinking, right, they're actual starters now. Penrice, I think Ken and Rolls are the best, are probably the best partnership at the moment. I think they've been the best informed partnership at the moment. Then you could so Devlin coming in replacing Grant. But the thing with that formation is that you could change it to you could either change it to a 4-2-3-1. You can change it to a 4-4-2 with Spittle and Dander being kind of the players probably wide but tucking in, and then you have Vargas through the middle with Shankland. So there's flexibility there, and I think John Thompson says Hearts have a great squad of players who are playing poorly. This guy has a track record of improving players 100% behind him, and that's what you're looking for in the short term, is just for a wee bit of direction, a wee bit of improvement. And with this team, because you look at the Premiership, we watch a fair bit of the Premiership. There's teams there that are no good. It's like we're a decent team of good players that are playing that have been largely playing shit. But I just think as long as it's got direction, we'll be absolutely fine.
There's no doubt we've been underperforming, and then by definition, there's improvement to be had there with those players in that squad. So yes, if Critchley can get things working, we should get wins and get up the table. The squad's capable of doing it. The talent is there to do it. It's no worse a squad than last season, I don't think. I mean, I don't think there's much in it. There's different characteristics. There's different parts of it that are maybe stronger this year and stronger last year or whatever, but I don't think there's much in it between this season and last season. So yes, we're underperforming. By definition, there's a lot of improvement to be had there. And just going by even the comments that we're getting there, they seem to be largely positive, or largely, if positive's maybe not the right word for all of them, but some of them are like, well, yeah, this is where we are. Let's get behind him, kind of thing.
Yeah, like Scott Alexander says, 100% get behind him and the team. I think Alan, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce your surname because I'm going to butcher it, and I don't want to disrespect you like that. Was ensuring his appointment, but I think I've read and heard. But I think what I've read and heard have me intrigued. Keep it simple, and we'll turn the corner. That's the other thing. One of probably my favourite quote from him during the week was, or the favourite thing he said, favourite quote from him as if he's a philosopher. My favourite thing he said was simplicity. Sometimes simplicity is genius. By just keeping it simple, that's sometimes the best thing for it, especially a team underperforming. But I will bring in some questions or comments from the chat. Mike asks, why have Shankland as captain? He should be concentrating on getting goals. So I think this is referring to comments today from Critchley. Got asked about the captain dynamic, who's going to captain Hearts. Is it Shankland? Is it Gordon? Basically said he had a chat with Shankland. The situation kind of he was happy with the situation where Shankland, who is arguably one of the most popular members of the squad, and who's been a really good captain over the last couple of years, will keep the armband for games. Craig Gordon will be more as a club captain. Like, for me, I think we've had this conversation before. I don't put much stock in like the captaincy. I know it's a big thing in the UK, but it's I think it's like it's a nice thing to have, but I just think it's more important that you have throughout the team. You look at Shankland's one, Gordon's one. I'd argue probably the one who looks like or sounds like your most kind of stereotype of a captain, John Terry-esque, is Frankie Kent. So I think it's just important to have the right people, a nice balance, and have leaders within the team, throughout the team.
Yeah, I'd say like people like Beningame and Devlin have got leadership qualities as well. I think maybe not as like sort of out and out captain material as the likes of Kent and Gordon, but certainly I think we've got a spine of leaders there, yeah, or leadership qualities. I agree with you. I don't think it's just all about one person. We have had a little bit of a weird dynamic, I suppose, with one person being the club captain, but then when he returned from injury, they didn't sort of like disrupt it, and they just let. So is Shanklin officially team captain? That's what they called them at Wraith, I think. There was club captain, because it was a similar thing. Ross Matthews was out long-term injury, and then at the start of one season, Ian Murray named Scott Brown club captain. Team captain. And then I don't know, it caused me a bit of confusion at the start of the next season. But is that what it is? Is that what the name of the titles are? Club captain.
I don't think there is. I don't think there are any titles. I think it's just a fluid situation.
But Gordon's the official captain of the club, isn't he? I thought you have to name an official captain. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter, does it? But I'm pretty sure that Gordon is officially our club captain. People can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, same with me. I'm not going to stick my neck out on the line for that. James asks, "Hi lads, guessing you've had a few chats with Neil now. How are you finding him overall?" So we were both there on Tuesday for the unveiling, and then I was there today for the press conference. So yeah, I've got my views on this. How have you found listening to him or reading his comments, Craig?
Yeah, he seems quite confident and sure of himself. Not the most. He's fairly quietly spoken. He was a bit more quietly spoken. Was he different today? Because I think he was a wee bit quietly spoken at the start on Tuesday, and then he sort of sounded a bit more confident quite soon into it. It wasn't like it was like halfway through or anything like that. And I did, thinking back on it, I did wonder whether it was just the initial. There was a lot of people in that room. And you just wonder, I'm not saying that he will have in any way underestimated the size of the club, but still, that's probably going to be a bit of a jump from what he's been used to before.
He said that. He said someone asked him about the change, and he's like, what's like the biggest differences, or how you know you're at a big club? He's like, well, you guys. I don't think he's used to being in a room full of photographers and press. Yeah. So there's more on Tuesday than there normally is on a press conference day. So like today there were I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Probably about 10 off adding the photographers, probably a dozen, between 12 and 15 in the room.
Tuesday there's maybe 30 between 30 and 40 or something like that, I would say.
Yeah, so that's something I think I think maybe took him by surprise. Maybe not took him by surprise, but had to get used to. But I found him today more confident. He was cracked a couple more jokes, like not as if he was like some comedian, but he like poked fun at a couple of things.
Philosopher and a comedian.
So making him sound like David Brent. But he is. I think he was more comfortable and confident today. I like the fact that he thinks about his. He definitely put, like I said this on Tuesday, put thought behind his answer. I don't think he's going to make any massive proclamations, but he's definitely just seems like a nice guy who will. Who seems like he'll be happy to explain things. I don't think he's going to be the type that will get he's a rant or rave or get caught up within like some of the noisier elements where maybe getting asked about like kind of refereeing decisions or general Scottish football thing. I think when he's going to ask a question, he's going to concentrate on Hearts, and that's it.
So on that then, do you think that's why we have gone for somebody maybe with the not that we were looking for a personality, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is we've gone for a head coach rather than a manager. And I think what some people are disappointed in, again, to just address some concerns that people have had, I think people were wanting a bit more of a
leader,
a statesman figure. A leader, like a statesman-like figure, like I mean, I don't want to. People get annoyed when you mention names. I'm not even going to bother start to mention names. But basically, everybody that you would like a more old school manager that takes control of everything. Do you think that's I'm trying to think how to even word this question. Do you think that's where some of the apprehension from people is coming from? Because he's not the most sort of personality-driven manager. He's not going to, like you say, he's not going to make big claims in the media and all that kind of stuff. And is it that what we're going to have to get used to now if this is our model, a head coach? It's just going to be it's going to be somebody who's like football first and all that other stuff's for somebody else, basically.
Which is not a bad thing. I think because he was I suppose he was he got asked if he kind of got, I think he got asked about like St Mirren, what do you expect from St Mirren, talked about Stephen Robinson, and then he just kept but then he brought it back around to Hearts. That's like he's going to always bring it back to Hearts, and he just re-emphasised we, like what we do. So yeah,
I noticed that. Don't know if it was his first answer, but on Tuesday, the first opportunity he got to say it, he said we. He never slipped up with that once, and that's just a small thing. But I think was it Neil Warnock last season? I mean, completely different situation, interim and all that kind of stuff. But did he not keep referring to Aberdeen as they and things like that? And it can get fans' backs up when it sort of. So that was something that was noticeable. That he was. It's just a small thing. It's just a small thing, and I know it doesn't really mean anything, but it kind of. Somebody's mentioned the name in the comments. Don't
I know. I see that. I'm not bringing it up.
I know. So anyway, that thought was finished. Sorry.
No. I'll bring in Ben. Ben asking, I'm a bit late to the party, so apologies if you've answered this, but what's happening to Fox? Easy one. He is staying with the first team in the immediate future. So I think Angus Beef will continue. Sorry, keep removing him. I think Angus Beef will continue as the B team the B team head coach. I need to get that confirmed, but that's what I believe. And Fox will just be with the first team for the immediate future. So he's brought in Neil. I keep forgetting his name. Forget his name. His first name, Mike Garrity, as his assistant. He's been assistant at Liverpool, QPR, Blackpool. So they've worked together for a long time. Fox provides that insight knowledge of the club, Scottish football. I can't really say much more than beyond that, because I still think that's to be decided. Well, I think it is to be decided. So
he did make it sound like it was a temporary arrangement. The way he worded it made it sound like it was for now that Fox would be helping out with the first team.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more I'll chuck in is, I think John makes a good point here. I'm not having this negativity. It was said about being a gamble to bring him in. Tell me who isn't a gamble. Mourinho's been sacked multiple times. Any manager is a gamble. Again, similar to what we have said previously about how managers in certain cultures or countries, they get sacked, and it's not as big a deal as it is here. Would you agree that my only thing to this is, I think there's every manager is a risk or a gamble, but some are more of a risk gamble than others.
Yeah. And on the face of it, this one looks like that. The reason I would sort of reserve complete judgment on it until I've seen it in action is because we're doing something completely new, and we're doing something that's worked for other people. So yeah, this on the face of it looks like it is not as safe a bet as what we could have got, but we are using this data in a way that it will reduce the probability of the appointment going wrong. Does that make sense? I mean, it still could go wrong, and this makes all this look absolutely stupid. And the board will have, if this goes like really badly, if we're still bottom of the league in a couple of months' time or something like that, or worse, then the board's going to have really serious questions to answer about this. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But without knowing exactly why they've chosen the manager, I'm willing to let it play out and see what happens, because this is the brave new world that we've decided to go down, and you don't introduce an algorithm and then say that this is what the route you're going to go down, and then rerun it again when you don't like the result you get. That's not how it works. You have to go with it, or we have to ditch it and just go back to what we've been doing before. Those are our options.
Absolutely.
You can't have a halfway between it, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a fascinating few weeks, and just I think, like a lot of folks said, it's be good for them to get time, important to get some momentum, get some wins started tomorrow. And I think Michael in Facebook comments makes a really good point. Big run of winnable games coming up. Let's hope the players are up for it, because getting some points on the board is massive, and as the fixture list is. There's that Hibs game there that's got, will have a lot riding on it, just in terms of perception, etc. But you've got home to St Mirren. You are Omonia under the lights at Tynecastle. Will it be under the lights 5:45? Yeah, it will be, because it's getting dark now. Omonia on Thursday, and then Hibs, and then I think we're home to Kelly, and then away to St Johnstone. I think that's the run. So I mean, there's a real possibility that it's a lot of games coming thick and fast, but if you get it right, then you've got that momentum, and it's you've got a great platform to then go and put money in there, put credit in the bank, but then kind of springboard and get a bit of time and just take it from there.
Hopefully, man, we can. Yeah, I've been lulled into. I'm still not even sure if I'm positive. I'm excited and I'm intrigued, like we spoke about before. But yeah, I've been lulled into it a few times where I thought, right, well, things look like they could turn. I've seen enough that we'll get a result eventually, and then things will start to turn. But I don't know, that Aberdeen game knocked the stuffing out of me.
That was a killer.
Still recovering from that. So yeah, all over the place, really. All over the place going into this game tomorrow.
G8. Well, I think it's G80 but Jambo. There was another assistant mentioned in terms of names to work under Neil. Will he bring in another one of his own men? I think that was Neil Brunskill. I would imagine down the line it will be either his coaching staff will be Fox and Mike Garrity, or Mike Garrity and a other that he brings in further down the line. But we will see. Before we go, Craig, give me a prediction for tomorrow.
Oh, really? Let's go for 2-0 Hearts.
I'm just going to go for a scrappy 1-0, and the Neil Critchley era gets underway with 3 points. That's all we want. We will be at Tynecastle tomorrow to bring you coverage from the game in terms of instant analysis, manager comment, and then we'll do a wee reaction video after the game at Tynecastle. Be sure to check out the website. There's plenty of stuff up there from the past week. Craig wrote a really good opinion piece, just touching on some of the stuff he said around the appointment, the reaction to it, etc. There's plenty of stuff from Critchley speaking. There's an injury update, and there'll be more to come later tonight, tomorrow morning. And I suppose the last thing we'll do is just highlight a couple of things that you can check out. So we'd love you to like and subscribe. I think they call it with YouTube.
Share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. That's the one. Like, share, and subscribe. And we've also got a WhatsApp community channel now as well. So if you search Hearts into the updates bit of WhatsApp, you'll be able to find the Hearts Standard channel.
It's not immediately obvious to find, so just a quick description for folk. I have been putting out tweets describing it, but yeah, just open up the app. At the bottom of all your chats, you'll see updates. Click that, and then you just click the search at the top and search for Heart Standard. We should be the first thing that comes up at the top there.
Yeah, so we'll basically put in a lot of we'll put in all our articles in there, and also provide a wee bit more insight and analysis. For example, I put in a rambling video note this afternoon after the press conference. And the last thing I'll say is the app. We've got the Heart Standard app, and I think that is the best way to consume Heart Standard. I am going to be asking about, if people are aware, the click-through from the WhatsApp, if it can open up the app rather than take you to the website. But that's something that's probably further down the line. But until then, Craig, thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening, engaging, etc., excited, etc. And we'll be back tomorrow, and then again at sort of next week to look ahead to what is a busy run of fixtures. And hopefully everyone has a nice weekend. Bye-bye.